Sit back and check out the RCWR show with Lee Sanders. Get fun, in-depth coverage and analysis from the latest in professional wrestling in AEW, WWE, NWA, Impact Wrestling, or the world of entertainment. From hit TV shows to your favorite sports like the NBA or NFL. All things music, movies, and beyond, while trying to make sense of this crazy world we live in. All while keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive since 2011. And now your host, live from the nation's capital of Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders. It's time.
Beyond since 2011, Lee Sanders with you guys. You all are checking out an all-new edition of the RCWR show for this June 3rd of 2025. How y'all been? I hope you guys are staying hydrated out there. It is no issues. Wait a minute. Are we back? Okay, it looks like we're back. Sorry about that, guys. We're having some connection issues. It's actually not me. The internet has been working fine for me all night because I've been doing some homework behind the scenes, doing a lot of multitasking and all kinds of stuff. So we'll see how this goes. Honestly, over here in the nation's capital of DC, it is so hot. We are looking at triple digit numbers for the next couple of days. It started today. And so I've got the AC on in the bedroom, and that AC normally does a fantastic job of, okay, it's hot outside, no problem. It's a good name brand AC. I've had it for almost 10 years, but today, it's barely getting the job done. Right now, we're looking at about a temperature of 81 to 82 degrees, and it's pretty much right now, as we speak, as we're live on the air right now for this next little bit, nighttime, 82 degrees at almost 11 o'clock at night, and it's going to stay like that all night. It is no joke, let me tell you. Shout out to the people that were affected, by the way, in Baltimore. A lot of you guys may not know this piece of news unless you've got friends and family that live in the Maryland area, but apparently there was a decent amount of passengers on a Amtrak train that was leaving from Baltimore. I don't know exactly where it was going, but it ended up being stuck in a tunnel for about close to an hour, maybe a little over an hour. And finally, conductors, engineers, they were able to figure out a way to get the train back. And so obviously the train did not continue on with its route. It was, now let's just send these people back to the station. And yeah, so it was ridiculous. There was a lot of footage that was shared by passengers on that train, and they looked unbearably hot, but they looked to be having some smiles and playing with their phones, playing some cards, conversing with one another. Everybody had water, so at least they were, at least they were in a position where they were staying hydrated and all that good stuff. Of course, you don't want to be playing around with this. Hope y'all had a fantastic weekend. My weekend was good, man. If you had checked out Sunday's drop of Wrestling with the Topics with me and Tams, definitely one of the more epic additions that we've done in recent memory. Just the Jack Bet segment alone is definitely worth the admission for listening to the show, I gotta tell you. But I had a fantastic weekend as I had participated in the 67th annual Capital Emmy Awards right here in DC. It celebrates everybody in the journalism and media industry. This is where the news affiliates in ABC, Fox, CBS, WUSA 9, all our local affiliate stations out here, WBAL out in Baltimore. Everybody comes together and they get their flowers. Everybody is recognized for their work. There were so many nominations, so many awards that was passed out. I actually went to the event as part of the social media team because I had volunteered to help out with the Emmy committee. And I had my pick a couple of months back because I've known about this for a few months when I initially signed up. And I decided, well, let me go for social media. Like that's all I want to do is the social media stuff. And I had a blast. It was definitely a lot of fun. I learned a lot. I got to tell you, one of the things that if you were to ask me, home in on one thing, Lee, that was your biggest takeaway from being at the Capitol Emmys, I would say to you, time management as far as okay, here's this situation, be quick about it, you got to deal with this in real time. That right there, I thought I did fairly okay, but I felt at the same time it could be better. There's definitely some tech issues that I had came across that I was not prepared for, that actually had involved, it's not even here in the studio now, but for you techies out there, there is a Rode Video Go. No, correction. There is a Rode Video Mic Go 2. You'll know it when you see it. It's like this little tiny mic, and basically you can either put it on a camera, or for what it's really made for is you can put it on a phone. I thought with that thing alone, I was going to be okay for live streaming because that's mainly what I was doing throughout the night as part of our social media team. I was going throughout the night streaming various things from the pre show to the actual show. And I was going to try to see if I could film a little bit of the people chilling in the reception hall area, snacking and everything, see if I can get in a word with them. But they had dimmed the lights, right? It was so dark in that reception hall. Yeah, this ain't gonna happen. And the last thing I wanted to do was be running around with my flash on and everything, irritating folks. But yeah, that road mic that I was pushing, not the ideal environment for a mic like that. That mic's sole purpose is if you're in a situation like right now, if you're inside of your apartment or bedroom or wherever you are, you're behind closed doors basically. It's great for stuff like that, especially if it's a situation where you need a microphone, a really good microphone that is pretty close to your mouth. That mic serves its whole purpose. It is not a 360 directional mic. It is one of those type of mics. If you're in front of it, it's going to pick up really good what's going on. Anything behind it, maybe to the sides, it's going to sound really, really bad. So as far as on-field reporting goes, I cannot recommend that microphone. Your better bet is to grab yourself the Rode Go-To transmitter and receiver. That's entirely different that's the little black square joints. Okay, you'll know it when you see it if you browse it online and everything. But again, I cannot recommend the Rode Video Go Mic 2. I cannot recommend that one. Really, really bad. But yeah, I had a lot of fun. It was a great honor. I got to understand how the whole Emmy process works. I got to see things from a productional, directorial, technical standpoint and everything. It was really, really cool. One of the best experience that I've had in recent memory, and it's something that I'm going to be taking with me for many, many years to. I was able to off record. I was able to talk to a couple of people, and it was one of those things where I wasn't looking to force myself into a situation where I was trying to converse with people, but there were people who I naturally just bumped into, had a few nice words, and that pretty much was the end of that. But the way I did it, I didn't get, and this may surprise a lot of you guys, I did not go into it, like I'm at a wrestling locker room almost, and it's, there's Randy Orton, there's CM Punk, nah, man. And if you've been listening to me for a long time, I've said for the longest, look, just just treat them like regular people, right? That's what they are at the end of the day. Just treat them like regular people. And that's pretty much was my mindset. That's how I operated. So it's really fun, fantastic time. Had a lot of fun, good stuff. Hopefully I get to do it again next year. If I do, I'm probably going to end up being a presenter. One of my classmates was a presenter. True story, true story. Me and him actually both made it onto our local newscast. I was kicking back Sunday night, and my wife's like, "Oh, you gonna stay up? You gonna watch the news?" I said, "Yeah, you go ahead. You go to sleep. Like it's all good." She's like, "No, I'll watch the news with you, then I'll go to bed." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." So we're watching the news because we're both going, okay, News 4, NBC 4, they're definitely going to boost about Capital Emmys night because they won a boatload of awards on Saturday night. The event was held Saturday night. They won a whole boatload of awards. Sure enough, we get to pretty much the final segment of the local newscast, and they're boosting about the awards that they won. But wait. One of the people that they showed is a consumer reporter. Her name is Susan Hogan. Love her. She has been a great addition to the News 4 family for many years now. She was nominated for an award, and so she's walking the red carpet. And I say to my wife, I remember filming this part where Susan's walking, but I can't remember where I was. I don't know if I was to the far left of the hall recording, which there was like about at least 400 to 600 people that were in attendance. BS, you're not. I'm not overhyping the numbers and all that. Anyway, I couldn't remember where I was. I couldn't remember if I was to the far left recording or if I was to the far right recording. But I was saying to my girl, "Oh, I remember filming this right here." Sure enough, as Susan is walking the red carpet, there you see me. You can go look for this on social media. I think I might even shared it on the YouTube page on the post section. If I haven't, I'll get around to it probably after this show is over. But there I am, clear as day, bald head and everything, and you can see I'm recording. I'm like, oh, but then it gets even funnier. One of my former classmates, I worked with him for the past 2 semesters. He's got a bright career ahead as a director. I definitely feel he is going to be, he is full of great ideas and the visual quality that he brings to the pieces that he directs and produces. Just remember this name, Tito Torres. Just remember that name. I definitely think this young man is definitely gonna be blowing up in the next couple of years. But this guy pops up in the same newscast towards the end of this little Emmy night segment as Susan is walking up the red carpet to receive her award. There's my boy right there giving her the award, looking all GQ and everything. I'm going, oh, like that's what's up. That's what's up. So awesome night when it was all said and done. So, a lot of questions going into tonight's WWE Raw as far as so what's the deal? Is Night of Champions gonna be pushed back maybe a week or two? Are they just gonna postpone it? What exactly is going to be going on here? And for those that maybe are not really into the politics, don't really follow the government and all that, basically, and it's kind of hard to really miss this, but you'd be surprised. Like, look, when I heard what happened with President Trump and the administration and the strike that they did on Iran, I did not hear about it until after I was done at the Capitol Emmys. And I got out about close to 11 o'clock at night. I am loading up my car. I'm talking to the wifey, and she says, "I take it you didn't hear what happened." I said, "No, what are you talking about?" And she told me what went down and everything. And we talked about it a lot more on Sundays Wrestling with the Topics and asking the question, so what's going to happen going into this week for WWE? And I left listeners by saying, wouldn't be surprised if Dwayne The Rock Johnson, Ari Emanuel, Nick Khan, Triple H, Paul Levesque, all of them get together and, okay, are we going to do this or not? And then if they decided, okay, well, we're definitely going to do it, well, that's great that they want to do it, but you definitely need to have some type of a meeting with your talent to find out how they're feeling and if they want to do it and everything. So, a lot to look out for heading into this week's WWE Raw. And it was pretty much established within the first 90 seconds of tonight's show. Night of Champions is still on. Contrary to everything that's going on politically, it's still going down. So that set the tone. With that out of the way, you're going, okay. Well, praying for everybody. Hope everybody gets there safely. But most importantly, hope that everybody gets out of there safely and everything. Some interesting stuff that we had for tonight's show. We had a king and queen of the ring semifinals, which pretty much was setting us up for the finals. And good action right there. That main event match, by the way, between Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. Man, one of the most solid main event matches, particularly that Cody Rhodes has been involved in quite a long time. Now, look, Cody Rhodes usually shows up and he delivers when it comes to the pay per views, without a doubt. Although the past couple, it's been just a tiny little bit subpar, I would say. TV main event matches, it is what it is. But this one was on another level tonight against Jey Uso. Look, when you have somebody that you really connect to, you gel with so well in real life, the two of you are essentially the best of friends. And anybody that's taken the time out to see a decent amount of press conferences for WWE, and you get to see Cody Rhodes and Jay just playing off of each other. You're like, yeah, it's undeniable. These two, they're definitely homies. These two, they are definitely the best of friends here. To the point, I remember saying one of the first times that we saw a press conference with them, wow, this is so unexpected. I wasn't expecting this kind of chemistry from these two. I think I want to see something with these guys as a tag team. I said that. I was one of the first, among the first, to put that out there. So to see essentially best friends go into a match with each other with such high stakes on the line, a shot to go into Night of Champions, go into the King of the Ring finals, and come out of that bad boy to possibly fight for a World Heavyweight Championship shot at SummerSlam. I mean, that just adds more to the story, does it not? That just gets you. If that doesn't get you really excited, I don't know what does. So some very interesting drama right there, and just when you really take a step back, you really appreciate how far, not just creatively, these two men have come, but you also appreciate from a storyline standpoint. Wow, everything with these guys. I mean, we already know, so we don't need to count the ways, but we already know. Definitely all of that added to an overall meaningful, memorable main event match for tonight's WWE Raw. And I love the fact that this match got the right amount of story to tell. It got the right amount of time for them to hit all their points, do what they needed to do in this one. Cody Rhodes coming out as the winner, although it did seem a couple of times there that maybe, just maybe, Jey Uso was going to get the job done. But towards the end of the match, Cody cutter. Cody's only able to pick up a near fall. Jey then hits the crossroads on Cody. That was a near fall. Jey follows up with a super kick, then tries going for another super kick. Spear follows up by Jey. Jey setting it up, going up top, hitting that Uso splash. But Cody catches him with a Cody cutter, hits the crossroads, stick a fork in it. It is done. 15 minutes plus Cody Rhodes, your winner via pinfall. And then talk about the sportsmanship that went down afterwards where Cody Rhodes, despite winning, I love that immediately after he scored the pinfall, he immediately grabs the head of Jay and he's patting him on the head and he's whispering something to him. I can tell you, he definitely, without a shadow of doubt, was letting him know, yo, that was a dope match. We did good. We hit a home run right there. And then to see Cody Rhodes holding up Jay's arm afterwards, sometimes you're not sure, right? Because we if you watch AEW a decent amount, you've seen so many times, oh, here comes a turn. Here comes a turn. And I don't know if anybody else was getting a little nervous there when Cody held up Jay's hand, but I was getting a little nervous there. I'm going, please, please, whatever happens, let's not see Jay Uso be mean and bitter and decide he want to lay out Cody. Let's not see that go down because Jay is still printing money. So let's not go there. At least not yet. Let's try not to go there for the rest of the calendar year. And luckily, that did not happen. So we now know that Cody Rhodes is going to be going into the King of the Ring finals to take on Randy Orton. And just the legacy storytelling that you have there. You see what I did there, you veteran wrestling fans? If that went over your head, don't worry. I got you in a little bit, you younger folks out there. But to see these two, essentially, when you think about the WWE, especially when you were watching when Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes first came into the company, the years upon years of history between these two men. And then you think about the fact that it was back in 2008. It was a short window. It ran from 2008 to 2010. Very short window. You think about that Legacy stable. The name of that stable was Legacy. That consisted of Randy Orton. And Randy Orton was essentially the guy. You really got to, for the younger listeners out there, the backdrop to this, keep in mind, Randy Orton was a few years removed from Evolution. And now Randy Orton was in this position where he felt, look, I am the present. I am the present. I am definitely the future. I am the next generation. But I'm not alone. There's two other guys that are coming up the ranks just like me. And at the same time that I'm the present, I kind of want to be a mentor to these guys as well. And so bring in Cody Rhodes. And this was a Cody Rhodes that had the black hair. He wasn't doing the Stardust crap yet, like none of that. This was, now that I'm thinking about it, this wasn't even dashing Cody Rhodes. This was just milk baby face Cody Rhodes. Well, bad guy Cody Rhodes, essentially, but you get the gist, right? This was Cody Rhodes just still trying to find his footing. And then Ted DiBiase Jr. When you hear those names, as veteran wrestling fans, when you heard those names back in the day, and you're like, wait a minute, these guys, wow, this is a stable? You're going, man, nothing but good can happen with these three guys. Oh, man, forget about it. This is it. This is literally what you want to do. This is going to be fire on all cylinders. Randy Orton, you just knew by looking at him, yeah, he's good. Randy's good. Randy was the star in that respected stable. Cody, you're looking at, you're going, kind of see a little bit of potential. Yeah, there's something there. He's just got to figure it all out. Ted DiBiase, you're going, That's not me being mean. That's not me being a dick. That's just me going, I'm not really sure. So it was a case where if you were to say, hey, who could we swap out? Who should be swapped out? You're automatically going, well, Randy Orton, forget about it. No, you need him as the centerpiece. Well, what about Cody? No. Cody's got all that built-in history with Goldust and with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes, and you can do so much building that in essentially. No. He just needs to find his footing. Ted DiBiase, you're looking at going, well, there's nothing really that. I wish I could say, hey, flashes of his dad. There really wasn't. I think it would have been a better case where if you had to swap out, you swap out Ted DiBiase Jr. and maybe you put someone in there like Mr. Perfect's kid and just that would have made a lot more sense. I think if you would have maybe done it that way, you probably could have. Now, at least when he wrestled, you saw flashes of his dad. You definitely saw flashes of his dad, but short-lived, stable. That was so all the history there leading up to that, and then afterwards, like there's so much fine storytelling that you can do with those two guys in the finals. I'm looking forward to. I cannot wait to see what type of a video package because they gotta put that's the thing that I love about WWE is when they've got their mind set to it from a productional standpoint and they go, okay, you know what? There's a lot of history that we got here between these two guys. I love when they decide, you know what? Let's go to the vault and let's see what we can dig up and compile and do some new narration and all of that. When they want to, and they want to try to get fans invested in a really good matchup, the production team does a phenomenal job. So I'd be shocked. I'm being honest with you. I would be totally shocked if by the time we got to Friday SmackDown, they didn't have that. Because I need a little bit more than just Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes maybe popping up on SmackDown and having a few choice words. I need more than that. I need some type of a video package. I don't need something that's going to be shown the day of Night of Champions, right before the event, during the kickoff. No, I need something between now and going into SmackDown. I need something that's gonna, and I'd be shocked if WWE did not do that. So, good stuff right there. I'll tell you something else from a production standpoint that was really good. Even though it was a pre-produced segment, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought WWE rebounded just a little bit from how they handled it the week prior. The Bill Goldberg interview. So Goldberg was back tonight, so to speak, but not live in attendance. Goldberg instead was shown in a pre-taped one-on-one sit-down interview with Michael Cole. And Goldberg talked about how months back he did legit feel disrespected by Gunther. He felt that Gunther disrespected him in front of his beautiful wife, his son, his adopted town of Atlanta, Georgia. You know, he felt totally disrespected. And he wanted some payback. He wanted to kick Gunther's ass. He wasn't sure when and where, but he knew he wanted a piece of him. And when everything started coming together as far as, one more match kind of feels like maybe it's time. Far as who that final opponent for him was going to be, hands down, it was going to be Gunther. And so he pretty much doubled down on some of what he's been saying in interviews and on social media within recent weeks, which is whether he is 58 years old or he's 28 years old. He's going to go into this match with Gunther with the same intensity, with the same focus. And whether he's at 100% or not, he's going to go in there. He's got something to prove. He's got something to prove. He's got to defend his family. He's got to defend Atlanta. Now, Michael Cole, we didn't see this part. It should have been part of it, though, the whole interview. But Michael Cole did ask him pretty much off air, hey, what happens if you win that World Heavyweight Championship from Gunther? He asked him this after saying, okay, win, lose, like, this is definitely your last match. And Bill Goldberg's going, yeah, this is definitely my last match. Well, what happens if you win the championship? To which Goldberg says, that is an interesting dilemma, isn't it? So Little bit of a cliffhanger there. So I like that little bit of, huh? So it definitely makes that Saturday night's main event happening in a couple of weeks that more interesting, doesn't it? Because you're looking at this and you're going, man, like you're just trying to understand WWE. And just when you think you understand creatively what's going on with this current regime, they do some head scratching things that make you go, I don't quite understand that. And then you're waiting to see how they rebound from that. If they do rebound from that, they kind of clean that up a little bit. And most times with this new regime, they don't. They just, F it, we'll just keep moving along. So you're looking at that Saturday night's main event coming up in about what, like 2.5 weeks' time, going, so what happens here? Does Goldberg win the championship? And he goes to SummerSlam and you give him the proper send off that way? I mean, you might as well try to get that big payday. The Bill Goldberg name still draws, whether some people like it or not. The name still draws. Interesting situation that's going on there with WWE. Of all the matches, I gotta say too, with the one-on-one interview that they had with Cole and Goldberg tonight, it piqued my curiosity that much more. And knowing what I know over the years about Bill Goldberg through interviews and everything, I know he's going to do his best to show up and really give it his all, especially if, like, no, this is my final match. This is it. I'm just glad that he is in a position where he has more time to physically and mentally prepare himself. And I'm hoping that we can get, by the time we arrive at Saturday's main event, what's that, June 11th, I think it is. Let me look at the calendar real quick. I'm hoping that by the time we get there, July 12th, I'm hoping that by the time we get there, Goldberg will definitely, okay, like nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Because history has shown when you have a Bill Goldberg that is not exactly at 100%, silly things happen. And then and also, not for nothing, but we've also seen through history that when Bill Goldberg shows up at 100% and he does some stupid stuff before he gets in the ring, it's costly. So hopefully, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. But my curiosity is definitely more piqued at this match. So we'll see how that pans out and everything. But that was a really good segment. I definitely would say to you guys, go out of your way, check out the Michael Cole, Bill Goldberg one-on-one. That actually was pretty good, very intense. It still doesn't justify how Bill Goldberg just nonchalantly came on out last week. That definitely was pretty lazy when it was all said and done. So yeah, not a fan of that whatsoever. I definitely wasn't a fan of that. At the top of the show, we found out a very interesting development concerning LA Knight, as he is going to be out indefinitely as a result of being attacked by Bronson Reed on this past week's SmackDown. Maybe he's filming something, who knows, or he just needs a little bit of R&R. Who knows what's going on with that, but he's going to be out indefinitely as the Seth Rollins New Dangerous Alliance opened up the show. Rollins basically saying, look, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're CM Punk. I don't care if you're Cody Rhodes. Like, when it's all said and done, I'm the guy responsible for these guys being back in the WWE. Y'all got to thank me for that, because I specifically told WWE I want CM Punk back just so I can kick his ass, because there's a lot of cash to be made and I can kick his ass at the same time. So do it. Cody Rhodes, that second coming with the WWE, it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for me. The World Championship, the NXT World Title, how he was the first one to win those, they wouldn't exist if it wasn't for him. So, he's now calling himself the creator, the prime mover, the past, the present, but most importantly, the future. And as far as opposition goes, anybody that gets in his way and ultimately forces his hand, baby, he's looking to take them down. And that's exactly what he did to LA Knight. And I love that he ran through the gambit of names towards the end of what was honestly a really good, a rarity of a strong promo from Seth Rollins. I definitely got to give the devil its due. Loved how he strung together John Cena, Bill Goldberg, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, letting them know at the end of the day, they are second place in the race to become champion. Because by him having that money in the bank briefcase and all, he's number one. Really set the tone there. Really, really set the tone. I love that. I love that. I love how the positioning of our current Money in the Bank briefcase winner is being set up here. I don't look at this as being a failed cash in either. I definitely think that when it all goes down, it will be a successful cash in. I really believe is going to be a successful cash in. In-ring action for the night, talking a little bit more about in-ring action. Penta taking on Braun Breakker. First matchup of the night for Monday Night Raw. Pretty solid. Pretty solid. Once again, no Pat McAfee in the house. Third week in a row that no Pat McAfee, but we get Corey Graves. Corey Graves really been stepping it up. Some people are speculating what's going on with Pat McAfee. A lot of people feel that, oh, well, Pat McAfee, he was so into the NBA final series between Thunder, Pacers. This is pretty much why maybe he's not we'll see what happens when it comes to Night of Champions. If he shows up at Night of Champions, then it may give credence to what some fans were kind of speculating on there. So, but he has been doing his show, the Pat McAfee show. He has been doing that. He did drop a new episode earlier today, FYI, in case you guys are not aware. So, kind of have that going in the back of your head. But yeah, third week in a row, no Pat McAfee, no problem. Got Corey Graves. Braun Breakker picking up the win at about 11 minutes. Pretty solid. Really good matchup. Really good matchup. I love the spear that Breakker had connected with as he caught Penta coming from off the ropes. I don't know if Penta was maybe looking for a corkscrew sling blade or what, but when he bounced off the ropes, Breakker had his number. That was a devastating spear. Almost broke that poor boy in half, let me tell you. Later on in the night, Penta runs into Chad Gable, who was giving a pep talk to Ivy Now, letting her know how disappointed he was in the fact that he'd been gone for a while, came back, and she still hasn't captured any gold. And before he could continue giving her a tongue lashing, he sees Penta, decides he wants to talk trash to Penta. Penta lets him know, please, not right now, man. Like, I can't deal with you right now. I don't want to do this. Chad kept poking the bear, though. Penta snapped, ended up, I don't know if you want to say dislocating, let's just say snapping Chad Gable's arm. So you see that, you go, ooh. So what's going to happen with Chad Gable now? Like, you would imagine Chad Gable is most likely going to be showing up in a sling. But what does it mean for Americano? Huh? What does it mean for Americano? I love some of the speculating you all have been putting out there too, by the way. I don't know if you all have seen this, but something that's kind of been picking up a little bit of steam on social media is, we have not seen Ludwig Kaiser in a minute. What if it turns out he is El Grande Americano? And people are going, well, wait a minute. Like, that's just the physique. It screams Chad Gable. Like, look at Ludwig Kaiser's body. He's pretty lanky and all that other good stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's true. But But no, legit, like, it's a really good point that some fans are bringing up. What if it turns out when they do reveal whoever El Grande Americano is, what if they do want to decide to do a curveball and go, no, it's actually this person right here? I kind of like that idea. I gotta admit, I definitely like that idea. Also, in regards to Night of Champions, remember we had found out last week that AJ Styles was going to be getting a shot at the Intercontinental Championship by one Dominic Mysterio. Well, that match is now not going to happen, as Adam Pearce caught up with AJ to let him know the match was off, as basically Dom's not cleared. It's legit, got the medical records to prove it. Pierce letting AJ know the match will go down at a later date, just not at this weekend's Night of Champions. New Day slides on in there, to which Pierce lets them know they will be defending their tag titles against Judgment Day. Apparently, that is going to be at a later date. You know, you're hearing this, you're going, oh, this is going to be at Night of Nope, not going to be at Night of Champions. Nope, but they will be defending the tag titles at a later date. To which they were pretty disgusted. They were pretty disgusted to hear that bad boy. From there, Finn Balor. Now that Liv Morgan is out of the picture and WWE has officially confirmed she's going to be out for several months, Finn Balor taking advantage of this situation. I mean, he looked like you know what? I have not seen that look that Finn Balor was giving. Boy, he looked giddy. Did he not? And he sold it well. He sold it well. We all have looked like that at some point, that giddy. I usually look that giddy when it comes to Christmas morning, because I know the first thing that's going to happen is I'm going to come downstairs. I'm going to have all my pets. They're going to be dressed up in their nice little holiday clothing or whatever, little bow, little shirt or whatever. Wifey is going to give me a nice big wet one on the lips. And we're going to play some holiday music. We're going to have some cheese. We're going to have some wine. And then we're going to start getting to the presents, right? And I have the biggest, she'll tell you, I have the biggest grin on my face from ear to ear, just going through the presents. And then, you know, smile continues as I give her her presents and all that good stuff. Balor looked giddy like a mofo. And I loved it. I loved it. I mean, he literally is getting what he wants now, which is, and it's so interesting, it's so hypocritical. This has been one of the most intriguing, well-developed story arcs that WWE has done as far as long-term storytelling. I got to give them a lot of props, because you can tell, no. We want to keep, this is very multi-layered. We want to keep building upon it. We want to keep building upon it. You got poor Dominic Mysterio. Oh, I miss Liv. And you got Finn Balor going, yeah, them the breaks, kid. So look, anyway, I mean, that was savage. I mean, he didn't say that word for word, but you can pretty much look at his body language and see how he's reacting to Dom. And it's pretty much, yeah. But it's hypocritical at the same time, because remember, Finn Balor, he always, at least the way he came off, and he was very vocal about it. Hey, Judgment Day, it's not about leaders. It's not about egos. Like, everybody, like, this is a team effort. It's not about I, it's about we. But right here, man, it really kind of seemed like Finn Balor was doing some serious flexing right here. Giving a pep talk to everybody, letting them know what they all are going to do, especially with Raquel Rodriguez. Raquel was kind of a little bit in a funk because of what happened with Rhea Ripley last week, and Finn Balor chewed into her big time, reminding her, yo, we brought you in for a reason. You're the enforcer. You're that badass, you that beast, you that woman. You is her. Go out there, handle your damn business. Let Rhea Ripley know that you ain't the one to be trifled with. Well, a little bit later on in the night, Rhea Ripley toe to toe there with Raquel as Raquel called her out, and them two were slugging it out big time. Loved it. Almost kind of had an Incredible Hulk versus the Thing vibe going on there. We find out later on in the night as Rhea storms into Adam Pearce's office demanding that she has a fight with Raquel, to which Adam Pearce goes, "You thinking street fight?" Rhea's like, whatever, like, works for me. So that's going to be going down. I'm assuming that's going to be going down next week. I'm assuming that match is going to be going down next week. Queen of the Ring semifinal matchup. Continuing on with the talk of women's action and everything. Decent women's action on tonight's show, by the way. And to Brian in the chat, we're definitely going to get to what you're talking about there in a hot second. I saw you a long time ago, by the way. Queen of the Ring semifinal matchup, Jade Cargill versus Roxanne Perez. Jade Cargill picking up the W, a little bit under the 10-minute mark. Jade looked pretty good here, but you know what? You're only as good as your dance partner. All the credit in the world needs to be going to Roxanne Perez. Roxanne Perez was just a busy little bee in this matchup as far as bumping around for Jade Cargill goes. It was kind of rare during this match that Jade would leave her feet and be grounded, but when you had the scenarios come about, whoever was in charge of booking this match, I will give a lot of credit where credit is due. The way that this was set up, very believable. Because honestly, you're going into this match and you're like, Roxanne Perez ain't no match. Just look at the sheer size and everything. Like, she's no match for Jade Cargill. How the hell is this gonna be, pulled off here? Jade was, it was all right, but it was nothing to write home about. It was nothing to write home about. Look, I love Jade. I like the overall presentation of the woman. Love the overall presentation. But to be in the WWE system for as long as she has been now, and she is still at this certain level of, man, like, we watched you for a couple of years there in AEW, and okay, you've had some time now in the WWE system, and you're barely. Roxanne tried. I mean, she really, really tried here, but probably not the best matchup of the night for this entire card. But Jade Cargill picking up the win. This seems to be going exactly how we're kind of mapping this out as far as what could possibly be a foreshadowing of things to come for that Evolution pay-per-view and all that, as far as Jade Cargill getting that rub, getting that nice big push going into that event and everything. I just saw Karrion Kross liked a tweet that I had put out, and I'm glad I saw this just now. It pays to have an Apple Watch. I'm glad I saw this notification just now that came in real time. Shout out to Kross. I loved his segment involving Sami Zayn. We know Sami Zayn has been egged on week after week, month after month by Karrion Kross. I don't know if this is the tipping point, but we see that Sami Zayn, I can't remember the girl's name right now, brunette, is it maybe Kathy Kelly? Anyway, backstage interviewer catches up with Sami Zayn, wants to get his thoughts on the fact that he came so close. He made it to the semifinals, but no mas. And before he could even truly give a full thought, he goes, and Karrion Kross interrupts him. He's like, that's what you got to say? I love how he was ribbing. He laid into Sami Zayn big time. I love this segment on so many levels. As Karrion Kross, he's like, Sammy, I actually believed you, dog. You had me believing that you were actually going to handle your business, that you were actually going to get the job done. But when are you ever going to learn? I keep telling you, you're never going to be World Heavyweight Champion. So Sami Zayn he's looking down for a few seconds and he says to Karrion, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then just out of nowhere, Cole clocks him in the jaw, makes that man drop to his ass. Hilarious backstage segment. I love this. I love this. To which Sami Zayn squats down and says to Karrion, yo, let's talk to Adam Pearce. You and me gonna be fighting next week. He rolls out. Karrion Kross continues to hold his jaw, and then once he sees that Sami is out of sight, out of mind, him and Scarlett Bordeaux, who was there the whole time seeing everything that went down, they start laughing as Karrion goes, got him. Boy, I tell you, I love these master puppet games that's being played here by Karrion Kross. I love this. Literally, what I say a couple of weeks ago, it's literally like the Batman Telltale's video game where you had Joker in the background pulling the strings, making people do certain things and all that. And I like the fact that the current team behind Matt Reeves' Batman, I like essentially that I know they didn't show the extended cut there of Batman talking with Joker, and it's understandable why, they cropped a whole lot of that, just said, nah, we're not even going to do that. But you kind of get the impression maybe Matt Reeves was kind of taking a cue there from that Telltale's game as far as having the Joker in the shadows, kind of pulling the strings a little bit. But then ultimately it's Penguin that's actually the one that's pulling. Great performance by Colin Farrell, by the way. Love that series. How it's Penguin that's pulling the strings, and you got Karrion Kross right here that is pulling the strings and all that. So I love this. This should be a good match that's going to be coming up next week. So going back to Jade Cargill, remember that was a Queen of the Ring semifinals match. So Jade wins in the finals this weekend at Night of Champions. Is going to be Jade Cargill taking on Asuka. Gunther talking hot trash, pretty damn good, strong promo and everything. Pretty much letting it be known that Bill Goldberg ain't shit. he gonna destroy him. That pretty much was it in a nutshell. He went on to say, last week it was supposed to be a celebration, but Bill Goldberg messed that up. He was quick to point out, like, it isn't 1999, it's 2025, and Gunther is the man right now. Brings up the fact that Goldberg is 58 years old. He's pretty much a one-trick pony. Got no business being in the ring with him. Can't even lace up his boots. Ended by saying he wants to apologize to Bill Goldberg's wife and family in the city of Atlanta for what he's going to do to him. That pretty much was it in a nutshell. Now, to Byron's point earlier, we had the Women's Intercontinental Championship match as Becky Lynch defended the title against Bayley. And we already talked about this last week, Byron. I'm pretty sure you weren't around because I didn't see you comment. Maybe you watched the stream quietly, I don't know. But we talked about this last week, which is, hey, I would suspect that somehow Lyra was going to get involved in this match, and as a result, Becky would retain. Most likely, we're going to get ourselves a triple threat match for that, and that's literally how things had played out in this one. Becky Lynch winning via DQ. At one point, Lyra Valkyria, she came out. She didn't like the fact that Becky Lynch pretty much manhandled Bayley through the announcer's table. And Becky at that point decided, you know what, if I can just make it back to the ring and win the championship by count out, retain that way, my job is done. I really don't have to do that much else. Bada bing, bada boom. So Lyra, and I liked how they had this set up because this match was about maybe somewhere between 10 to 13 minutes long. And before they had Lyra come out, they at least let half the match play itself out, which was very solid, by the way. And then Lyra comes out for pretty much the second half of the match. Lyra trying to rally on Bayley, letting her know, no, 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 you got to get back in this. Becky, seeing what's going on, immediately comes out, takes a cheap shot at Lyra. I mean, it connected well. And then she tries running back into the ring, does Becky Lynch. Lyra soon follows. She jumps up on the apron, does Lyra. Referee's like, yo, you can't interfere. Becky's egging her on, saying, yo, go ahead, hit me, hit me, hit me. As all that is going on, Bayley has enough time to recover. As she comes to her feet, she's trying to figure her way back into the ring. Becky sees this, bounces off the ropes, goes for a baseball slide that sends Lyra crashing into Bayley. Becky loving what she sees happening right here. Action, once again, spills to the outside. Some shenanigans go down where Becky gets in. That baseball drop kick, by the way, that really had connected pretty damn good by who was that? Becky to Lyra, who crashed into Bayley. A little bit more in-ring shenanigans outside. Went down. Becky eventually getting in there. Bayley did come back on the offense. She was on the offensive rebound, from what I remember. And then Becky tried climbing up to the top rope, and it kind of seemed as though maybe this match was going to be over. Maybe Bayley had this in the books, but then just out of nowhere, Lyra charges in, gets on top of Becky, starts pounding her. Referee has no choice but to call for the bell. Becky immediately rolling the hell out of there, running for cover. Bayley, Lyra getting into an argument. This is playing out exactly how myself and probably a few of you all out there thought this how it was gonna play out and everything. Becky versus Bayley. You know, it's interesting. You think about the history with these two women and everything. It was an okay match. It was definitely better than the match that I mentioned between Roxanne Perez and Jade Cargill. Yeah, it was. It was. But I'll say this just to throw it out there. The chemistry, I mean, I won't say nothing was there. You had a little, there was something kind of interesting there. You definitely had something, but I was expecting more. Oh, that could be just me, but I was expecting more from this. I was expecting more gravitas from this match, and I kind of felt that it was a little bit shortchanged for what it was worth. But yeah, kind of an interesting show because here they were essentially building towards Night of Champions this weekend. But at the same time, this Saudi Arabia show, it really feels like a big fat nothing burger. I get the whole, hey, look what we did here for the King of the Ring. Look what we did here. Now, look, for the men's King of the Ring, that's going to be a damn good, fun matchup. Cody, Orton, that's going to be fun. It really is. Jade versus Asuka, this is essentially Asuka being asked to essentially do the deed, so to speak. Because remember, whoever wins Queen of the Ring, whoever wins the Queen of the Ring tournament will get a shot at the women's champion at the Evolution event. So I have a feeling Jade is going to win at Night of Champions. So Asuka's going to have to do a lot of bumping. She's going to have to do a lot of selling and just based off what I had saw tonight between Jade and Roxanne, is all I got to say. Good luck to Asuka. Seriously, good luck to Asuka. Now, the way the full card is looking for Night of Champions. Oh, I have a correction to make too. Karrion Kross versus Sami Zayn is actually going to be happening at Night of Champions. I repeat, that's actually going to be happening at Night of Champions not next week's Raw. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Thought that was going to be happening on Monday Night Raw because it wasn't really. Then again, I probably wasn't paying attention to the commentary later on. Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. That is going to be a street fight match at Night of Champions. Jacob Fatu will defend the United States Championship against Solo Sikoa. John Cena defends the Undisputed Championship against CM Punk. Asuka will take on Jade Cargill, Queen of the Ring Tournament Final. Wait a minute. I thought that whoever won the women's match here, whoever won this match, they get a shot at Evolution. No, forgive me, guys. I am so sorry. I see, pays to be live on the air and then you're able to catch yourself. I get the brands mixed up. No. NXT this coming Tuesday, they've got a fatal four-way that involves Jordan Grace. Who's the other girls? I can't think of the other girls right now. But whoever wins that fatal four-way gets a shot at the NXT Women's Champion at the Evolution pay-per-view. Forgive me for that, y'all. I am so sorry for that. Queen of the Ring tournament, meanwhile, as stands SummerSlam. So Asuka, Jade, whoever wins, they get a championship match at SummerSlam. Randy Orton, meanwhile, taking on Cody Rhodes. King of the Ring tournament final. Whoever wins that one gets to receive a respected world championship title shot at SummerSlam. So if Randy Orton wins, then Randy Orton, that's going to be very. So wait a minute. Let's really stop and think about this for a second. Cody Rhodes. Is Cody Rhodes a Raw guy or a SmackDown guy? Because the way I'm kind of understanding this, I was kind of under the impression that whoever won these respected tournaments, they could go after whichever world champion they want to go for. But if it is brand specific, then it's because, see, you understand why I'm asking that question? Because Asuka is definitely a Raw girl. Meanwhile, Jade Cargill is a SmackDown girl. Randy Orton is definitely a SmackDown guy. And I've got Well Damn in the chat saying Cody Rhodes is a SmackDown guy. So we got two SmackDown guys facing each other. Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, damn. That's what I thought. So that's kind of, yeah. How about that? How about them apples? So some interesting development, some interesting drama there for the Raw side as far as that championship goes. That makes Saturday night's main event even that more intriguing to try to see what direction that's going to be going into and everything. I don't want to get into predictions right now, and I'm just looking to see how we titled tonight's episode. And it looks like the way we titled it, yeah, we didn't tease we were going to give SummerSlam, not SummerSlam, but we were going to give, you got to forgive me, it is hot in this studio, and I've got my ceiling fan on, so it's a little hard to concentrate like I normally would be able to do so. So apologies if I'm flubbing up here and there, but it's hot. We're getting ready to wrap the show up, though. But yeah, it looks like as far as your preview goes for Night of Champions, we just did that. I think it makes more sense to go over match predictions for this card. I'll probably do that as a YouTube short, like 3 minutes or less. I'll definitely do something like that Tuesday. We'll have that uploaded to the YouTube channel. I'm also trying to get into the whole TikTok. I know some people are like, I don't care for TikTok. But, after I did what I did at Capital Emmys night, working with the social media team, it has become imperative that the more familiar you are with all the social media sites that's out there, the better. It really, 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 really helps. Really, really helps. See here. Well, damn saying the lines between the shows are blended together now with either superstar competing. Yeah, yeah, for sure, for sure. Kind of interesting how they set that up there. You know, they could have easily just said, "No, we want a Raw guy versus a SmackDown guy," but instead they just said, "No, let's just go with the best matchup here that is going to have a lot of eyes on it and everything." Look, for what they did with tonight's Raw and everything, look, for some people, especially if they're in that protest kind of phase and or they don't like what's going on with the current American presidential administration and stuff that's happening with Iran and everything, and you're looking at the Saudi show, you know, it's kind of one of those, no, I'm just gonna do a hard no, I'm not watching this, forget about it. But the card itself, which we just went over, there's definitely some interesting matches that's on there. I'm not gonna sit here and say to you guys, oh, I don't care about this show. No, I give WWE credit. They have tried for the past 4 years plus now make these Saudi shows. No, here's why you actually need to watch it. Here's why you actually need to give a damn and check out this show. And I think the card is actually pretty good. My main concern though is just I hope everybody arrives safely, but most importantly, I hope everybody is able to leave safely. That's the main thing that I care about the most there. So, quick programming note, and I loved hearing this. Raw is going to be on at a special start time next Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 Pacific. Live on Netflix. Now, some of you guys that's hearing that, you're going, whoa, 2 hours earlier. What's going on, Lee? So basically, and I was able to figure this out real quick because I remember doing a little bit of wrestling news reading over the weekend, just kind of getting myself caught up to speed for the midweek show that we're going to do for you guys. And apparently, WWE, they're going to be filming SmackDown immediately after Raw. That's going to be a tape joint. They're trying to make sure that everybody is able to enjoy the 4th of July holiday weekend, basically. That's it in a nutshell. Nothing else. No weird little. That's it in a nutshell. So that's why we're going to be getting Monday Night Raw at 6 p.m. We're still going to come on immediately after Raw goes off the air. So best bank on that, right? So I love when we get an earlier show. So if that basically means we get to come on at 8:30, 8:45, almost close to 9, I like that. Especially if it means I get to be in a good position where after I get off the air, I can watch the 10 o'clock news. Oh, yeah, best believe that. With regards to Liv Morgan, Byron, we talked at great length, and I recommend to Byron and everybody else because it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair to address it again when the majority of the listeners that usually check out the show live and or especially when they check out the show for on demand and downloads, it wouldn't be fair for them to hear the same thing again. So I'm trying to make sure that when I do repeat something, it's very brief. But yeah, Byron's asking the question, when do I think Liv Morgan is going to be back? Look, I'm no medical expert. I don't pretend to be one and none of that. But we're talking about an injury that Liv Morgan, and it was unfortunate. We talked about it at great length last Monday. We talked about the injury, how it was a move that basically, and again, for anybody that hasn't seen it, Kari Sane, she had a match with Kari Sane. 10 seconds after the bell rings, Kari Sane goes in for a low corkscrew leg sweep. And I've seen that move done so many times over the years. I've been watching wrestling since the early 1980s. I've seen that move done so many times and how wrestlers, how they fall and everything. It was just a freakish situation where Liv Morgan did not kind of give herself a little bit of extra extension as she was falling. And by the time she kind of really realized, okay, I'm going in a little too low, let me try to. And by the time she tried to adjust her elbow and then, the dislocation, That's not something where, oh, I'm going to be good in 2 months. It doesn't work like that. I need for people to really really understand this. So Byron, I'm answering your question, but I'm going to answer it a different way that's going to be brand new for everybody, okay? So you need to understand something. One of the first things when you have a dislocation like that, one of the first main priorities is, okay, look, we definitely need to monitor you because we got to make sure that no blood clots happen. Because that is definitely how a blood clot can happen. Okay. So, first things first is, right, you got that kind of evaluation and monitoring that's going to be going on and everything. Then the second phase of that becomes, okay, well, is this a situation where rehabbing could maybe, or is this person going to need some type of surgery? And if they are going to need some type of surgery, then obviously, as a result of that surgery, that person is going to be out much longer. So you got those kind of factors that's going in as well. I don't think it's going to be a situation where we're not going to see Liv Morgan again until first quarter of 2026. I don't think it's going to be that type of a situation at all. I do see her coming back by the end of the year. This is June. We're getting ready to go in July. So we got August, September, October, November. You know, December is really pushing it. I personally think. Because now that I just laid that out, I didn't realize how much time has flown by already. Half the year. Good God Almighty. Half the year has already gone by. You know what? First quarter of 2026, it just might be that for Liv Morgan. It just might be a case where maybe we don't see her until honestly the Royal Rumble next year. That very well could be the case. So as far as my prediction goes, I hate predicting on stuff like that because I'm not a medical expert. I don't pretend to be one. I definitely, but I have seen my fair share of forensic files and understanding the human anatomy. I mean, for God's sake, I am taking a class on nutrition and everything. So I did have my opportunity to take a class on biology, more specifically the human anatomy. But I took a look at the syllabus. I said, yeah, this is a lot of stuff that's going to be way, way over my head. Yeah, forget that. I am good. But I'm looking at the latest update as far as this specific injury and everything, trying to give you guys more information because WWE, they haven't even provided an exact recovery timeline as far as when she's going to be coming back. But, you got some reports that's floating out with my estimating. See, I didn't even look this up. Like, I'm literally in real time, right? I gave you my thoughts. But it looks like, from what I'm researching here, they're estimating bare minimum 6 months. Bare minimum 6 months. So when you have an injury like this, you got to be concerned about blood clots. You got to be concerned about, okay, like, can rehabbing really take care of this, or is this going to be a case where some type of surgery is going to be involved? So the best thing that you can do if you're a Liv Morgan fan is just keep your fingers crossed, wish her very well, send her best wishes, speedy recovery and everything. My whole thing and my mindset has always been for years upon years when an injury has happened and that question comes up, when do I think they're going to be coming back? My whole thing is they just need to take their time. My answer, when they're 100% ready. That's not me taking a cheap ass, no, when they're 100%. Because above all else, it's like, look, we were just here and we were talking about how Liv Morgan backed out of the Fan Fest event as a result of the injury. We talked about it here on the show last week. And how anybody that wanted refunds and all that, they could definitely have gotten it before that weekend's event. Looked like a lot of people had a great time. My boy Julian Cannon was sharing some of the content footage of fans in attendance. It was ridiculous. I mean, it was overpacked. Overpacked. I looked at that. I said, man, I remember a long time ago, many, many years ago, when Awesome Con is an event, kind of like Comic Con, but smaller, here in the nation's capital. Usually pops up around this time at the convention center. I remember when it was like virtually that kind of packed. I'm like, whoa. So, but no, that's my answer. Whenever somebody gets injured, it's when they're 100%. Don't rush to come back. Don't, honestly, for me, from a creative standpoint, I look at this as a blessing in disguise for Liv Morgan. As I said last week, some of the seeds you can kind of tell has been planted that maybe WWE is toying with the idea of maybe turning Liv into a babyface. I'm sure that if they can really, figure that puzzle out and getting her over as a babyface, they will definitely execute it. But having Roxanne Perez there in the interim, stirring that pot up and all that good stuff, yeah. I mean, you got the right setup. You got the right setup. So, but if I were to jump out there, my message to Liv Morgan, take all the time you need. And if that means chilling for the rest of the year, so be it. But I think the women will be just fine. It's a blow. It's definitely a blow because you look at the main roster and Liv Morgan is the one that she's on fire right now. She is on fire. And who knows? As I said last week, maybe she'll come back and she'll be a on-screen character. I mean, it worked for CM Punk. By the way, speaking of which, and I'm glad we're talking about Liv Morgan. In case you guys didn't see, I really would encourage you guys to go out of your way and look at the kind words that Liv Morgan got from one CM Punk. I mean, he went a huge step out there and talked about for his MVP of 2025, it's Liv Morgan. Go check out the post that he put out there. Some really, really, really good stuff. I thoroughly had enjoyed that. All right, so the way that we have been doing things these past couple of weeks, if you guys are new, we've been experimenting. Monday shows has strictly been just the talk of Raw. And then we've been doing a bonus show midweek where we go a little bit more all over the place. Definitely on the wrestling, but we go a little bit more all over the place. And I'm trying to get you guys conditioned for that because once my fall semester begins at UMD, I'm going to have a very, very busy schedule. So these Monday shows, I typically want to try to have it be, hey, we're in, we're out. And then the Monday shows, I'm definitely don't mind going a little bit longer, all that good stuff and everything. So we are going to be doing another midweek show. In the meantime, y'all be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes you might have missed on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Just search the RCWR show. You can get at me all throughout social media as well. Use the same handle. I am thinking, if not Wednesday, definitely Thursday night, we'll do another live show for you guys. We'll definitely talk a little AEW. We'll talk some TNA. We'll talk some NXT. We'll preview SmackDown. By then, we'll already have gone over match predictions for Night of Champions. So keep that in mind, right? Because that's going to be a separate thing that we're going to put up probably on TikTok and on YouTube. Just kind of make things a little... Got to spread it out, man. You got to spread it around a little bit. You feel where I'm coming from? Shout out to those that support the show as always. Show that extra love and support. Make sure you share this episode. Heart, like, whatever. Show the YouTube channel some love as well. We are a little bit over, I think it's 15,000 subs. Let's keep it growing. I want to see those numbers keep on doing its thing. All right. Until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Take care, y'all. Peace and stay hydrated.